Okay, sounds good. Well, welcome everyone, and thanks for taking the time to join us on a Friday of what is a beautiful day outside. We communicated earlier this week from Miles about some changes as a result of Google and the impacts to Outlook no longer existing. So Tyler and Neil are going to walk you through those changes today. So please feel free to ask any questions along the way. You can either unmute yourself, ask them in the question pane. I'll keep track of them to make sure that they're all answered before the end of the call. If there's anything else at the end of the call, if we have time that you're curious about in terms of our transition to Google, we'll hopefully have time to answer some of those questions as well. But Tyler, we'll kick it off with an overview from yourself, and thanks for all of the great work you've done to put together QRCs and videos to help educate us through this new process. It's been greatly appreciated for you taking the lead on that. And I'll turn it over to you to walk us through it.
Sweet, thanks a lot, Sam. All right, so I'm just going to, everyone can see my desktop here, I guess. We'll check that first.
Yep, we're good.
Perfect. All right, and we begin. So there is a printed hard copy kind of reference guide that you guys can refer to as well. It does have screenshots of pretty much everything I'm going to show you here today, so you don't have to take notes. There's also, this video is going to be recorded, as Sam mentioned, and there's also another quick little training video on YouTube as well that you can follow this process. So to get started here, basically, I am going to start off with the simplest sort of email that we would want to save into WMF, which would be a text-based email. So something that doesn't have any pictures, there's no attachments, just plain text. So in Gmail, I am going to hit forward on my email here. And what that's going to do is that's going to give me all of this text information here as to who this email is from, who it was to, the subject line, and the date. Up here, that information is displayed, but it's more difficult for us to copy and paste. So by hitting forward, we're able to go down to the bottom here, and on our keyboard, we can use a couple shortcuts. So we can hit Control and A to highlight everything within that email, and then we can hit Control and C to copy that. Going into WMF, we've got a couple different options here. What I'm going to show you today is how to create a note in WMF. It's really up to you guys. Some people yesterday, or I guess that was Wednesday already on the call, had mentioned that they may want to do this, a slightly different way. And it's really up to you guys how you want to save this information, but the note here is kind of the default that I've selected. So we can hit Control V to paste this information into the body of the note here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to then use Control C to copy the subject line of this email. And I'm going to title this note with email at the beginning. Some of our people on the team have identified that if we put email at the beginning of the note, it'll make it a lot easier when we do transition from WMF to a new system in categorizing these notes. This here was sent on June 28th, so I'm just going to edit the date here so it shows up at the proper time in the client journal, and I'm going to hit OK. So it's pretty much as simple as that as far as saving a text-based email. Yeah. Any questions on that before we move on? Cool. I will continue then.
Sure. And Tyler, I'm just going to ask if everyone could mute themselves just so we don't get any background noise. Sorry to interrupt you. I just want to make sure we can hear you clearly. So if anyone is on mute right now, if they could, that would be great. So
can I ask a question, Sam? Hi, Tyler.
Hi, Lucinda. Absolutely.
Okay, so Tyler, I'm just making sure I'm really clear. I can't use my lovely buttons I have on my Outlook anymore, where I do save as to WMF, or file to WMF. Those are gone.
Yes, those will be gone in Gmail.
Gotcha. Thanks.
Perfect. Simple answer. There you go.
Yeah, but I don't like it. But thank you. That's sad, but I don't like it. But that's okay. I got it.
Yeah, so it's a little sad. Those file with and save with buttons are definitely going to be gone. This process here definitely does take a couple more seconds per client record. That being said, when we're saving these files now with this kind of copy and paste or saving a PDF attachment, as I'm about to show you, it's actually going to be a lot easier when we transition to the new system. The way Outlook currently saves the files in WMF, they're basically as an MSG file, and that's an Outlook file. So it only works with Outlook. So by kind of changing the way we're saving things over the next, however long till we get the new system, we're actually going to be in a little bit of a better place when we get that new system. So Neil can expand on that if there's any further questions, but that's the answer.
Oh, so are you alluding to the fact that this is just a stopgap measure and we're going to get to something that was as good as what we had for saving emails in WMF?
Yeah, so maybe I'll just jump on that one, Tyler. So it is certainly you can call it a stopgap. It's certainly a new process from what you're existing now, Lucinda. But so we won't be looking at something different in terms of from this new process for WMF itself. Really, what I think Tyler is alluding to, and what we're aiming to do is we're re-examining, so call it reimagining our CRM system and looking at essentially replacing WMF with something new in the near future, probably within a year or so. So this process is going to fill that gap until we get to a new CRM solution. So it will, as it stands, exist and really not change for WMF. But once we get to our CRM system, we're anticipating this process, and if it exists and how it exists in that new world, will certainly be much improved.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So we're looking at 2 years. I got it. Thank you.
No, 2 years. There's going to be some of us out of jobs. So no, it won't be 2 years. But it's certainly a top priority for this coming year in terms of project priorities. So.
Cool. Thanks for the question, Lucinda. So next type of email here we'll look at saving is something that has an attachment. So maybe this is like a transfer form that you've scanned yourself that you want to save in WMF. Maybe it's some client notes, who knows, but some sort of an attachment within your email. So in this case here, what we're going to do to start is I'm actually going to click on this attachment and I'm going to download it to my desktop. So this process, I won't go through quickly, but basically just desktop, and I'll save this as holdings. So now that that's been saved to my desktop, I am going to go in here and I can again create a new note. In my email, I'm going to hit forward again to grab that text information here. Control A to highlight everything and Control C to copy. Within WMF, Control V to paste. And again, I can use those shortcuts. We're going to copy the subject here. I'll amend the date to June 28. I'll just pick a different date just so it shows up different in the client journal here. But we'll edit that date. And now I'm going to go under attachments. And I can actually add an attachment to this note. So I'm going to browse, and for simplicity's sake, I just threw it on my desktop here. But you could be saving this in a folder or somewhere on your E drive or a shared drive, whatever you think is the best option. And add file. Perfect. So now I can hit OK, and this email will be saved in WMF here. So here we've got the text for the email in the note, and right here we've got that attachment. Cool. Any questions on this process here, or does this make sense? Cool. I will take that as no questions, and we will move on.
Do thumbs up, thumbs down, Tyler, just to make sure people are there. But Lucinda did have another question. If an email has an attachment, we need to do 2 steps.
Yeah, so if an email has an attachment, then essentially you're going to be doing 2 steps. You're going to be putting the text in the note and then attaching the attachment from that email as well.
Yeah, versus doing save as, and the whole thing goes right now.
Exactly, yep.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Cool. So the third sort of email here that you might want to save is maybe you got something from rep support with a snip of some instructions, or, as an advisor, maybe you're sending instructions, for trading via a snip here. Whatever the case may be, this is going to be a slightly different process to save as well. So with this email here, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to click print to print this email. And when I get my printer window here, I am going to change my printer destination to save as PDF. And again, when I go to save that, I'm just going to save this directly to my desktop. Same deal here, similar theme. We're going to hit forward to grab all of this text-based info. Control A and Control C to copy. And when I go in here to paste this note, you'll notice that you'll get all the text-based info here, and there'll be this little line here that says basically there's an inline image 1, and that's your kind of key when you're looking at this type of a note saved in WMF, that there's, hopefully an attachment with a snip. So what I'm going to do here is do that same subject line. We'll change the date to the date of the email. And this time under attachments, I am going to grab this attachment here that's going to be a PDF of the email. So I'll open that after it's attached here and show you guys what that looks like. So that's this note here with the inline image of the snip. So when I open this attachment here, it's actually going to show me a full PDF of the entire email that I sent, including the snip. Cool. Questions on that? One of the questions that was actually brought up on the call on Wednesday is some people said, if I don't want to save it as a note, because that would actually clutter up the detail tab of my client's information under notes here with all the emails that are being sent back and forth. Is there another way? And the answer is yes. You've got two other options you could do here. You could save it as a document if you wanted instead, or you could save it as a task. So it's really up to you how you want to use your WMF journal to decide how you're going to be saving these emails going forward, but the process is pretty similar no matter which option you choose.
Tyler, just a couple questions coming in. Rachel's asking, now do we have to do the text-based part, or could we just put refer to attachment?
So it's up to you. You can put refer to attachment. I mean, the copy and paste, literally takes 2 clicks on your keyboard to copy everything over. And so I like having the text in here because then I can simply click through maybe different emails with a similar subject heading. And then I'm able to view that text quickly to kind of know what email I'm looking for. If you decide that you don't want to do that and you would rather click into every single attachment to open the attachments, it's really up to you, whatever works for you and your business essentially.
And then the next question, Tyler, is there an issue to just save it as a PDF rather than copying and pasting and saving a document?
Not quite sure I understand that one. Like what sort of an issue? Maybe if you want to jump on the...
Sure. Tiffany, do you want to just unmute yourself quick and clarify? Oh, it's the same question. Okay, you're good.
It was the same question that Rachel was asking. I just typed it in a weird way.
Okay.
All good. Thanks. Oh.
Cool. Any other questions, or I'll show it one more thing, maybe?
Sure. Go ahead, Tyler, and we'll grab some questions after. Sounds good.
Sounds good. So the last thing I'm going to show you guys how to do is, if you wanted to do a task, because in Outlook right now we have that, create follow-up button that will will save the email and create a task. So I'm going to show you how to do that in this new world. So I'm going to simply go in, under my client, create a new task. Under this task, very similar process. If I want to grab the text here, maybe I can paste that in here. And then I can go, I really don't need this information here for my task, so I'll just get rid of all of that. We can do, trade, whatever you do for your description. And then what we can do here is related. And then same process, we're going to add a note. And what this is going to do is essentially create a note and a task that are linked, much like how it was done in Outlook when you use that create follow-up button. So now when I am in this task, after this loads, so we'll just show you on this task here. So now when I'm in the task, I feel like I'm on Starbucks Wi-Fi right now. Oh, man.
It's just the anticipation, Tyler. It's going to save. It's going to save.
Yeah, it's going to save.
Yeah.
Well, I'll just refresh.
This is why
I've actually been having internet issues on my computer. I have to contact IT and get some updates done. So apparently my Wi-Fi stuff is outdated. So.
While we're waiting, Tyler, just Lorna was wondering, you could do the note first and then add an assigned task or a to-do. Is that correct?
Yeah, you could flip the order around of how you're doing it. It's completely up to you.
You have some supporters that it's not your internet, it's time to replace WMF. So.
Well, that is Neil's baby. So.
Yeah.
So actually, and no, don't hold me to this, guys. But there is what we think will happen is as part of this change and not using some of these services that WMF currently utilizes. We're expecting WMF to speed up, actually. So it won't get slower, that's for sure. So that may be, although it is more inconvenient in some cases, Lucinda, as you pointed out, and its new learnings, there may be an auxiliary benefit that we get from the speed. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that turns out on Monday as well.
Cool. So just going back to the task here, you can see your task, you can put all your notes in. And then if you need to reference, geez, what did my advisor send me, or what did that client send me? Then you can go back under related and see that original note with that text. Same process would apply if you were to print the email to a PDF. You could attach that PDF in here as well. Totally up to you. Cool. And then two things to note, this is definitely a slightly longer process. We get that. What's really exciting is you guys get into the G Suite come Monday and you see some of the cool other tools. It's going to take you another extra couple seconds per email to save in WMF. But two cool things that I think are really going to save us a ton of time in our day is Google Keep and the ability to record voice notes in there, basically kind of like voice dictation. Some people were laughing about bringing the dictaphone back, but I think that's really going to save a lot of time when we're putting notes into our client records, being able to do that voice note instead of typing it out. And a second thing was just the way calendar works and possibly being able to share some appointment slots with, say, lenders in your branch as an FA and have them being able to kind of book their own appointments without sharing your entire calendar. So I'm actually going to be doing some Ties Tips training sessions next week on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, I believe, where I'm going to go over some of those tools and specifically how they relate to Apis and how we can, save some time on these cool tools. So definitely, if you guys are interested, stay tuned for those and and join in.
And
Do you have
Tyler,
any final questions or concerns?
Tyler, and Beatty here. Question, like I do the back office stuff, and we scan, say, to, 306 or something, then we pull the end cap and scan it. Is it going to be still the same, or is it going to be the same process on Monday?
Like to scan it in with the barcode?
Yeah.
Yeah, that still continues to operate the same way.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know. Thank you.
Good question, though.
Yeah, good question.
Hey, Tyler, I have a quick question for you.
Yeah,
So it's Tiffany. So my team actually asked me to bring this up because they were on the call the other day.
okay.
You remember, like in Outlook, we have all those forms set up for, like, say we're pulling ID for our Prosper accounts from ATB Financial, or we're sending referrals on. Are those forms going to be in Google in some form or fashion?
Oh, very good timing on that question. Maybe Sam, I'll let you just talk about the communication on that piece. The answer is no, but they are being reimagined and created in the G Suite world. So Sam, maybe just give an update on that information.
yeah, absolutely. So your timing's great, Tiffany. The communication around that's going to come out today after this call. And there have been new G forms created because obviously the forms in Outlook will not work because Outlook will cease to exist on Monday. So there's a number of forms that have been recreated. They've already been uploaded into the resource library, the forms library on Inside ATB. And the process that you need to walk through, it's 5 simple steps, just talking about the new forms and where you need to send them, will be outlined in a communication this afternoon.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome, thank you.
No worries. And after you go through it, if you do have any questions, both Tyler and Neil are up to speed on it too. So if you go through it or you're having some difficulties on Monday with it, just reach out to either of them.
Perfect, sounds good.
Perfect.
And maybe Sam, I'll just touch on one point around Outlook, just to make sure everyone there isn't confusion around. So our emails and calendar items that we're used to today that run through Outlook, those are what is stopping on Monday. Outlook itself won't, at this point, be removed from your computers or go away in the sense that you still can look at it. You just won't be actively being able to get emails and calendar items and or send emails and create you calendar items in Outlook. So not to worry that if you do need to go and reference anything from Outlook, you can, but in terms of the forms, the Outlook items that retain to WMF, emails and calendar items, those are the ones that won't function anymore. And yes, Stephanie, everything is being transferred over from Outlook, and that means calendar items, existing emails, your existing folder structures, and all the emails within your folder structures in Outlook will be transferred over like to like, including your sent items in your Outlook inbox.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Neil.
You're welcome.
Now, just for my own craziness that I have, I am going to be doing on-site meetings on Monday when we do the transfer over. So I won't be in campus at the office. I will be at a business doing meetings with clients. Mm-hmm. Is there any reason that I need to be sending emails to copy and paste anything or have it taken out of Outlook? Should I have any concerns about that, or is it going to be a pretty easy process and I shouldn't stress out about it?
You shouldn't stress out about it. Yeah, no, and that's a fair question, guys. And for anyone who hasn't been in Gmail and G Suite, so that'll be your biggest thing, is just to understand look and feel. So again, I know we're temp is here pretty quick, but if you haven't, go look at the learning materials and just or go play around with G Suite on a personal's account and just get a couple. That'll be what you need to be most comfortable with come Monday.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that. I'm just more worried about making sure I have all my information on who I'm seeing and where I'm going.
Yeah. If you want, Tiffany, one of the things that some people have said is they might just take a screenshot of their calendar, today, just to make sure that if, there was something that didn't transfer over, they have at least got it in hand, right? So you could save it to a PDF to your desktop or something like that. Just a tip that someone gave me today. So
that's a good idea. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, you're welcome. The only thing I wanted to touch on about bringing over, though, is we wanted to clarify that tasks will not be brought over. Correct, Tyler?
Yes, that is correct. So if you use the tasks portion of Outlook, those tasks will not show up in G Suite anywhere. It just doesn't transfer. That being said, those tasks, if your WMF syncing was working properly, should show up in WMF. So if you go in WMF under your tasks and you see that all of your Outlook tasks are in WMF and they all have a client assigned to them, then you're good. They'll still continue to be in WMF after July 10th, but there will be no syncing between Outlook and WMF. So if you're editing a task in Outlook, right now it would update in WMF, and that will not be the case after July 10th.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up, Tyler. That's a good point. I see we have a few questions coming in here.
So one of them was about the Google App Maker. Are we giving?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So on that one, I have to go back and check. I don't know the answer on that one. I don't believe so, but I need to confirm that. So we'll just make a note to check what is that. And so what that is your ability to basically create apps. And I think there's another question around the APIs for existing apps. So likely some of that is going to be restricted. And any extensions, and you guys will learn what extensions is a little more. It makes sense once you get into G Suite and Chrome. But some of those things will be restricted, and there will be a process to, if you need access to some of those tools that aren't the standard part of G Suite, you can request through IT and that to be examined and looked at. So, but I'll take a look at that app and get back to you guys.
Judy had a question for you, Tyler. And I have to move up now. Questions are coming in. Sorry, just give me a second.
Sorry, that was me.
No, that's okay.
Yeah, I saw the GIC one.
Yeah.
So, what about GIC process? This is under the developer tab on Outlook. And
So
where will we find this on Monday? So all the GIC tickets have actually been remade in Google Forms, which are super easy and slick to use. And Sam, are those just going to be on the intranet?
Yep, they're already
Forms?
on the internet under Forms, and
Perfect.
all of the links to all of those new forms are also in this communication that'll come out later on this morning, so you'll have direct access to them right from the communication as well.
Perfect.
But they'll be permanently housed on the Forms page on Inside ATB. And just on that note, nothing around the internet is changing on Monday, so anything that you've currently accessed on the internet, like Forms, will remain as is. There will be no impact with Google coming. So the only thing that's changing is that some of the forms are now created as a Google form so that it's compatible in Gmail. Looks like there's a couple more questions just around tasks, but I think you got them, Tyler. Yeah, just some questions around that. Well, why don't we open it up? We have 15 minutes here, and I'm sure there's other questions about Google that, might be on people's minds. So, Tyler and Neil have been leading this fantastic and exciting journey as our evangelists, traveling all the way to Google and working really hard to make sure that we have what we need to feel confident and prepared on Monday. So, feel free if there's other questions you have outside of what Tyler has talked about today that you're wondering about in terms of Google and what that transition will look like. Please feel free to either unmute yourself or ask those now.
So, Sam, I have a few things just to touch on as well around...
Absolutely.
So, Tyler did talk about tasks not being synced over. So, and just to make sure that everyone is on, understanding that syncing and that right now in between Outlook and WMF, it does have the ability to sync tasks, contacts, and calendar items to WMF and back from WMF to Outlook. That will no longer function, guys, as of July 10th. Actually, probably 6 p.m. on Saturday. So, if you, like Tyler alluded to, if you did have that functioning, it was very hit and miss if it was even working for people. That function will no longer exist. Another thing around notes. A lot of people have notes either under client contacts in Outlook or notes just in general in Outlook. So if you do have notes specific to clients that are under a contact in Outlook, those notes and the contact information for those clients is going to be transferred over into the G Suite world. As Tyler mentioned, tasks will not, because they just aren't able to do it. Standalone notes in Outlook. So if you just have a note that's, if you use the note function in Outlook, those will not be migrated over. So you would still need, if you needed that information, you're still going to be able to reference it in Outlook. And if you need to copy that over for whatever reason, you're going to have to manually do that in the G Suite world. And one final thing around WMF is WMF is not compatible with Google Chrome. And so you can sign in using Google Chrome to WMF, but it just doesn't work very well at all. So don't use Chrome to access WMF. So basically, if you can avoid it, don't make Chrome your default browser, because that will force WMF to open in Chrome versus Internet Explorer. And the Internet Explorer is not going anywhere, so you still will be able to access it and use that for WMF purposes.
Yeah, I'll just add to that too, Neil. Like, you can see when I'm doing the demo here, or I guess I unshared my screen. Maybe I'll share again quickly.
Yeah, I think so.
So, for myself using WMF, I have Google Chrome open here, and Google Chrome is on the right-hand side here. This is Google Chrome. This is my email, my calendar, my drive, my notes. Like, this is everything. And then I have Internet Explorer open here, and this is a separate program for just WMF. So I actually have WMF saved on my favorites bar. So I just open Internet Explorer, click WMF, and then this operates now as like a separate window, just like kind of how data file is a separate window in a separate program. You know, this is going to operate separate from Chrome and your email and the rest of your programs, if that makes sense.
So Tyler and Neil, I think there's some of the questions that have come in around here are just some concerns around, the functionality of WMF, with Google. And, this isn't really a workaround though. This is a solution in place now that we are having Google until a new CRM is in place, like you mentioned before, Neil. So what are your thoughts? I mean, you've been playing around in it now for a little while, Tyler. So what can you share with everyone in terms of how it's been?
I'm going to be honest, initially, the first week I was doing this, I was pretty frustrated and upset. And I'm like, you know what, this kind of sucks. And, I'll just be real with everyone. That's how it felt. And after that first week, I started going through and I was like, you know what, okay, this isn't so bad, actually. This is okay. It really doesn't take that much more time. It seemed like it did at the beginning, but realistically it didn't. And some of the time-saving effects that I've had from some of the other G Suite apps have saved me so much time that it more than makes up for the few extra seconds that WMF takes. So I'm super excited to share some of those time-saving tips with people next week. But yeah. And
Tyler, how do people join those sessions with you next week?
So the cool thing about that is we're actually not going to have Skype. Well, we sort of will, but we're embracing the new way of doing things. So I will not be doing a Skype meeting. I'll actually be doing a YouTube live hangout, essentially. So I had sent out an email with the dates and times, and those were actually links to YouTube. So if you click on them right now, it'll take you to the video, and there's a really nice picture of my face that says I'm not presenting yet. So basically, on the day and time, depending on what session you want to attend, you can just click on that link, and it'll take you right to YouTube, and you can watch it from home, your personal computer, your phone, as long as you're signed in on your work ATV account through G Suite. You'll be able to view that on YouTube.
Yeah, and Lucinda's wondering if she can't make it, will they be recorded? And yes, they will be recorded, Lucinda, so we can figure out a way to communicate those recordings post.
Yeah, these are my first YouTube live sessions, so if there's any technical difficulties, I apologize in advance. But my understanding is basically because I'm doing it right through YouTube, you'll actually just be able to click that link, and it'll take you to the recorded video after I'm done.
It's pretty slick.
Mm-hmm. So we'll see if that works.
Sorry, Tyler, can you, so again, I'm not going to be in the office for those few days that you're doing this, and not that I'm concerned about using Google, but I wouldn't mind hearing some of those time-saving tricks because I always try and be more efficient. So I can watch that. I can just go into YouTube and watch it later. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, basically, they'll be saved under my profile on YouTube, so you should be able to click on that link and go in there afterward and watch the recording of the video. That being said, I've also got a Ties Tips Google Plus thing on my page.
Okay.
And so the topics that I'm discussing all have, Google-made training videos. Okay. So I'll be sharing little, kind of one little tip or trick maybe or two a day of what I'm going to talk about in the call.
And sorry, what do you mean by your page? Like, so do I just when I sign into my own Google I really fell behind on looking at this stuff. So when I sign into my Google and I'm signed in for my, like, I can look at my email and everything like that. When this goes live, I can just like Google your name in my Google thing and find all of your information, or?
Not quite that easy, but sort of.
Well, you know what, Tiffany, what we'll do is we're actually going to share the link in fine print. So that might be easier for everybody, and then we can just... That would
be much easier.
Yeah, we'll share it in fine print on Tuesday, and then it'll just take everyone right to Tyler's page, and then all the videos will be listed, and that way you can just go to that link, and everything you need will be there. Yeah.
Perfect. That's so much easier. Thank you.
No worries. We'll work to educate on how to get all these places on your own, but for right now, we'll help everybody out too. So, yeah. So yeah, there has been a section in fine print for the past couple weeks around Google. So we're going to keep that section into the next couple weeks with, continuing to provide learning materials and links to these videos and, frequently asked questions. So, anything that you're needing or you have questions about, we encourage you to ask, because it'll help us to provide the information that you need to make sure that you're getting comfortable using the new tools. And actually on that, Tyler and Neil, if people do have questions, because obviously reality is a little bit different on Monday once you get in there, what are we saying to people in terms of where they should go for assistance and support?
Yeah, for assistance and support, like, you can reach out to myself and Neil, especially if it's anything specific to, obviously, WMF or something like that. That being said, like, depending on where you are, there's likely a GWiz or a Google Guide in your branch or your business unit, or, if you're working at Connaught, there's a couple of GWizes floating around. So really, depending wherever you are, there could be support a desk away. So you just have to poke your head up and kind of holler out and look around maybe for a Google support pin and see who's available. There's also a support button on the Work Reimagined Hub. You can click that, and it gives you a list of every GWiz and G-Guide in the whole company, and you can kind of search through that. And there's some other tips about how to get support there as well.
Yeah, and in yesterday's fine print, we actually put that as a separate link of what you need if you need support on Monday, sort of who you call and what do you do. So go back to yesterday's fine print, and it's actually called out right there. It has a link to the hub and has a link to that support information. So if you have any questions about it, it's housed there. And if you if you are needing help and you can't figure it out, you can call any one of us and we can direct you to a person who is there as well. So you're not alone in this. So we have about 6 minutes. Anything else that's on your mind that you have for questions for Tyler and Neil?
I think Tambra's got a question there for you, Tyler.
Yeah, I will touch briefly on that. So working with tasks in WMF, there's actually a way to sort tasks in WMF. So I actually tier all my tasks, A, B, and C. So what I'll do when I'm working in WMF is anything that I need to complete that day, I might code it as A, more urgent. B is what's returned for a lot of system-generated kind of garbly goop and compliance stuff, so I kind of ignore that. And then I use C for anything that's kind of, I could do it today or tomorrow, but not really urgent. So when I'm sorting through my tasks, just by clicking A or C, I'm able to sort my list and pare it down so it doesn't look so overwhelming. Also, by using your descriptions, if you put keywords in your description like trade, you could, for example, go into WMF and search for A and, type trade in the description, and that will pull all of that up. So it's a really easy way for you to kind of manage your work list, I guess. Does that make sense? Does anyone want me to show that on my screen quickly, or is everyone familiar with that kind of sorting? Cool. I'm going to take that as a sounds good.
And if Tamber, if anyone does, they can just reach out to you, Tyler, too. So that's good.
Exactly.
Yeah. So everything you showed today, Tyler, yes, we have recorded this, but you did create a great QRC and a quick video as well to go through all of the information. So if you're looking for that, we are going to create just a separate intranet page that I'll put all the resources on just to make sure you have quick access to it. So we'll send that link out to everyone today. But it's also in the communication that Miles sent out this week as well as the one that Tyler sent out when he was talking about his tips. So the hyperlinks to both the QRC and the video are in there if you want to save them somewhere yourself, just so you have access to them as well on Monday. So Tiffany, one more question. Absolutely. We've got 3 minutes, so shoot.
Awesome. Because I like Chrome so much better than Internet Explorer, how do I transfer my favorites list over so that it's easily accessible? Or do I have to like just redo it?
There is a way to transfer it over, and I can't remember the exact steps here, but if you actually go to Google...
I can tell you it's really simple, Tyler, if you want.
Yeah, go for it, Neil.
Yeah, so when you're in Chrome, if you... in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see, I don't know what you call it, it's 3 little buttons. So the very far up right corner.
It's the hamburger.
No, not the hamburger. It's in the, what do you call it, vertical 3 buttons.
Oh, yeah, I have an exclamation point right there right now, but I know which one you're referring to, yeah.
Yeah, so if you click on that, you'll see something for bookmarks. You click on bookmark, and then it actually says import bookmarks and settings. And it's an automated process that rips them in for you from IE11. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Perfect.
You're welcome.
That was really easy to do. Thank you.
It is.
And thanks. There's a nice, people have been putting some links up there that might help as well. So thank you so much for that. Okay, great. Well, if there's any final questions, feel free to reach out to Tyler, Neil, or myself after the call today. And again, if you need anything next week, we are around, and we're happy to hear from you and happy to help you. So thanks so much for taking the time to join us today. Hope everyone has a fantastic weekend. Thanks for Tyler and Neil for walking us through this process today and for making everyone's lives a little bit easier on Monday. Appreciate it. Have a fantastic weekend, everyone, and we will talk to you next week.